Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome to a new trade recap. In today's trade recap, we're going to be going over the two trades I ended up taking today. I ended up taking one loss and then one win. So coming into the day here, I wanted to see data lows. That was my first initial draw on liquidity, data lows. But again, the reason why I wanted to see data lows is because at the time, price has swept this daily high or weekly high, whatever you want to call it, inside of this daily fair value gap. So again, I felt like it was pretty clean that the drawn liquidity on New York session was going to be data lows because it is a low that got put in before open, which is 8:30 and before. It doesn't seem like a protected low. So for example, if London goes up and sweeps a high and then we start retracing to a dealing range, the objective, again with low resistance, the objective for New York session is going to be, or should be, again it's all probabilities, should be London session high. So same thing I was here again, 8:30 news, we manipulated lower and then we went higher. So the draw liquidity for 9:30 should have been data lows. Again, there was the first value gap that got put in after 9:30. Again with the clear draw liquidity, that could have been a short, but again I'm an inversion for value gap trader, so I waited for. Again, this could have been a long, but this doesn't make sense with context. Context wise, the draw is lower, so I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't take that inversion. I didn't even consider taking it. So yeah. So price ended up going lower. Again, we put in this SMT here at first, and once we put in this SMT, I was like, all right, like we should be bullish now because the objective is done for the day inside of the hourly for value gap. So I was like, okay, like if we're still inside this hourly gap, and initially we're still basically respecting this range, we swept this low, we're respecting this range here, and again I'm also trading within this range. So again, like I'm just like understanding that we're not bearish until this inverses, right? So we swept the low and I was like, okay, we should be bullish, and then price inverse this 1 minute. I ended up taking the long because I felt like, okay, now price is still respecting this dealing range. And at the time we also didn't, again, if you want to just trade this range, we also were respecting this 15-minute gap in live, like while the candle was open. And once we closed back in the range, I was like, okay, like this should be good, because we closed like right around like here, like the gap didn't inverse. But again, the next candle just kind of took me, not kind of, literally just took me out right away. So I thought we were bullish. Again, I was wrong. Nothing you could do about it. Then I realized, I'm okay, like where does price really want to go on ES? And I should have looked at ES. I just didn't see ES come here, but ES wanted to come to equilibrium, and I didn't notice at the time, but that was obviously the play here. Price wanted to come down to equilibrium and rebalance, and that's exactly what ES did. Once we swept the low and came to the rebalance, then I was like, okay, like we are still bullish here. We're extremely bullish because we had the SMT inside of this 4 hour, and that would have been discount. So again, we have range, we have equilibrium, we have higher time frame PDRA, we have so actually I'm gonna stop saying range. Obviously, like you want a dealing range to find equilibrium, so I'm just gonna say we have equilibrium, we have the higher time frame PDRA, and we have this SMT. Now we just need an inversion, right? So again, at this point in time, I want to see this 3-minute inverse, but 10 a.m. was about to open, so I was like, I'm gonna wait for 10 a.m. to kind of give me like more of a narrative. And again, we kind of consolidated here, so like I didn't like this consolidation, and then price ended up displacing higher, and I was like, okay, like I wanted to target the 15-minute, but the market didn't give me an opportunity to do that, so it's okay. We displaced higher here, and we formed this 5-minute breaker, and we inversed this 15-minute SIBI. So again, now it's all about ranges. What is holding me? Again, why would we pump to premium? Because of discount. What is holding us back from this for value gap? Once this gets inverse, now you have a clear direction of where price wants to go. So again, 15-minute inverse, now I have narrative. Okay, what was the reason why we should go higher? Well, price on ES came to discount. We swept sell side, we have an SMT. Now we have a 5-minute breaker, meaning there's a shift in structure, right? There's a low, high, lower, low. We swept. Again, this is your protected low down here, so it should not get taken. And then we displace above this high. Once we close above this high, now there's a shift in structure. Now you can seek longs, right? It's higher probability. So now what did we do to confirm that? This 15-minute got inverse. So now the draw is clearly this high over here, right here, for sure. Like that's very prominent. I would take 50% of my cons off here and then the rest up here. So at this point in time, I was like, okay, like, what am I looking for? A retracement now. Again, what am I retracing to? Again, 5-minute gap. We came inside of this, put in this SMT. Again, price here went and gave us max pain. Price is literally giving us max pain here. All the fair value breaker entry traders that enter here, they all got stopped out by putting this stop at the low, right? This is price causing max pain and just taking people's stops. And then that's why I trade inversions. And then price, again, I was looking for the 3-minute inversion here. We ended up taking out my break even here. So I didn't take this trade, although the draw was clearly higher. So that, again, in this moment, I got a little confused because I'm like, bro, like, am I breaking my rules? Like, this is break even for me, right? But in the moment, like, while I was actually trading this, like, I told myself, if this inverses, like, I would not go break even because price is still very bullish. So I was like telling myself at the time, like, yo, like, I low-key want to go long. Like, this should be a long. You know, this doesn't look bad. And then, you know, I don't know. Like, I just had a doubt, and I was like, okay, like, my break even got hit. So, like, but I do believe the draw. So, like, again, I told myself I don't think I should want to take this trade. But, again, I always ask myself, what is the context to why I don't want to take this trade? And I feel like today I asked myself that, and I just didn't have confidence, and that's okay. Like, there's going to be times where I told myself I prefer quality over quantity. And in this trade, this is a very nice, beautiful trade. But in the moment, I just didn't see it, and that's going to happen. But now, this is definitely going into the journal, and I'm definitely going to be like learning more about this and improving as a trader. So, like, when the draw is so clear like this, and we have a 5-minute range, and your internal gets taken on the higher time frame, the draw should be higher, and on a higher time frame, like, that should be the break even. So it's like, if ES would have hit this here like this, so if ES would have actually, where is it, like at the time, oh well, this would have to be like this, so it wouldn't make even much sense. But let's say there was a big ass wick, something like that, then it's like, okay, like now it's like less probability. So like, if I do believe the draw is higher, like I don't want this to get taken because that would be on ES. So like something like that. I don't know. It's hard to kind of explain this, but you know, over time and through market experience, you kind of get used to it. So if ES would have put in the SMT with this high, then I think this is not valid. But since it didn't, and NQ was kind of like the leading index here, I feel like this is still valid. This is just pretty clean. And I was going to take it, I just didn't take it, so whatever. Then when I saw this, I'm like, damn, bro, like, this is so clean. Like, I should have taken it. But then I told myself, I'm like, you know what? We improve. You know, we can't be attached to this because, like, I just didn't see it in the moment. And I know the market always provides. If the market gives us a setup here and we end up taking along, okay, cool. If not, I'll end up getting off for the day. And there's no need to be attached to, like, oh my God, I should have taken this trade, blah, blah, blah. Like, no. That is living in a scarcity mindset. And if you have this scarcity mindset, I'm actually going to make a video of this today, like talking about a scarcity mindset and how it holds traders back and how it held me back as a trader for a long time. And how, like, now my new approach of being process focused and living and, like, literally being in abundance and trusting that everything that I already want is already mine and that it's just going to come to me. Like, I'm going to make it full in depth. Like, it just became so much easier to let it go. And I was like, okay, like, I learned from this. Wow, I'm going to actually write this down. And that should not be my internal, only if I have high conviction. And boom, like, there it is, super high conviction. So then price ended up coming here, and I know I always say 5-minute bullish fair value gaps and up to take a trade, but in this occasion, the reason being was because we had a 5-minute order block here. Like, this wick here and this wick here, that is an order block here. And again, even this 5-minute here is an order block as well. Like, even this is an order block, so it does tap into this 5-minute order block. But there's like two order blocks kind of like overlapping each other. There's an order block here and an order block here, and price literally comes to this one perfectly, taps the order block. Again, what did price do? We have a dealing range from this low to this high. Price never take the first tap. You wait, sweep, takes a protected low. It has a protected low. Now we inverse, right? We put in the SMT, tap into the order block, coming into equilibrium. So we have equilibrium, we have a hard time from PDRA, which is a 5-minute, and we have a 4-minute BISI here, very clean. And then we have a sweep of liquidity, and then inversion. Okay, there you go. And then you have a clean draw liquidity. I ended up taking this long. At first, I had my stop at this order block down here, like this, but then I lowered it here because I was like, okay, like, this shouldn't really come back down. This is pretty displacing high. Then on ES, we put in this SMT with my break even over here. Boom. This was my break even on on NQ, and it got taken on ES. But instead of going break even and getting stopped at break even, I trusted my edge, and I said, you know what? Instead of my stop being from down here, I'm gonna raise it to right here because we have this 5 minute that's gonna get put in soon. And I told myself, like, damn, like this is pretty bullish. Like I know, like we should, you know. So I ended up putting my stop here at this 1 minute. Price came in this for value gap, and I'm like, this should go higher, you know. So once we tapped into this 5 minute here, we swept this 5 minute low, and I was telling myself, okay, like this is the 5 minute low. Once we take the high, the stop is getting moved here, because again, the reason why I was trying to preserve capital here is because ES took the break even. So any time I can move my stop, I will. Any low that gets put in that takes a high should be, again, if price is still bullish, should be a protected low. Like we should form it as a protected low. So as soon as this low got put in on the 5 minute, we tapped into this 5 minute BISI and we took out this 5 minute high. I said price should not come back down there. We should still keep going higher. And price did exactly that. We put in the order block, closed above it. That was great. And we came to my break even, and boom, we hit TP, right? I made back all my losses with a little bit of interest. Good trade. Yeah, like looking at this trade, it is a good trade. Like I genuinely believe this is a good trade. Like I can't even like talk bad about it because it's hindsight, you know what I mean? But I guess the only thing I would say is just ES came to NQ, and that's something I'm gonna learn on the way of my trading. But again, at the time I thought that was pretty A+. I would take this trade every single time. I think it's a very good trade, genuinely, but not meant to be, and that's okay. So with that being said, yeah, I feel like overall my performance on the day was great. My emotions were good. And at one point when I felt myself like getting emotional or like having like, oh fuck, I should have taken this trade, like any state of FOMO, I controlled it and I tamed myself, and I said, you know, I tamed the brain, the cave brain, and I told myself, you know, that is not the right mentality of a profitable trader. That is a mentality of someone that is missing out on opportunity, and they're like so focused on the outcome of trading. And I was so quick to just say, you know what, nah, like there's gonna be more opportunities. There's gonna be many opportunities, and if we get it, we get it. If we don't, it doesn't matter, because like trading is about being process focused. And in that time, I was just like, no, it doesn't matter. If I walk away with an L. Like it don't matter. And it just felt good because I know, like, I'm not trying to focus on taking trades that are what ifs. You know what I mean? Like if I didn't have confidence in it, I didn't. But I know when I do have confidence in the trade, it's gonna feel so much better than taking a trade that potentially could have delivered and then I lose. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm taking trades that I have high conviction on and have context, you know? So again, overall, I'm very proud of my execution. I'm proud of myself. And again, all glory goes to the man above, bro. Like I literally am improving every single day because I am lucky that I get to wake up every single day healthy and literally new perspective all the time, and come on here and literally try my best and literally continue learning more about myself as a person and improve as well as a trader. So really good day. Yeah, we're gonna keep running it up. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next trade recap. If you guys have any comments, make sure to put it in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.